Hi, she's Trixie and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We are on episode 123 today. 1, 2, 3. And honestly, this is the weather to craft for us up here in the north.
We got dumped on. We got about 24 inches.
So here's the story. We decided to say hi to winter, and it now.
Did.
Okay. It was an accident. I didn't expect winter to take it so seriously. So here's the thing. When I started walking my daughter to the bus stop for this year's school season back in the fall, my son asked, hey, when will I know when my birthday's coming? Now, me and my son share practically a birthday. Mine is the day before his. So, and it's in January. And so I was like, okay, so here's the thing. When it snows, you know it's getting close. We go practically our whole entire winter without any snow. The only time before this that snowed was Halloween, and it just dumped and then it melted and went away. We didn't even have snow for Christmas. It was green. Like, not something we're used to, but like the day. So like my birthday's the 9th, my son's is the 10th. On the 8th, it dumped and it hasn't stopped. And when my son, we're getting ready to take my daughter up to the bus stop again, and he walks out into that snow, and the first thing he says is, Mom, is my birthday soon? Is it coming? And to be fair, I was generalizing winter as like, hey, our birthdays are in winter, so when the snow comes, you know it's close. And yet Mother Nature had such different plans.
Exacting plans.
And when it dropped, my son, who has not thought about what I've said for a while, like months at least, you know, I might have brought it up 1 or 2 times, but like he's confirmed it. He's the one who comes back and he's like, you said winter, right? You said when snow comes, my birthday will be here. And so he keeps bringing it up. And all of a sudden the snow hits and he's like, my birthday, it's coming. And I said, yeah, it's like in a couple days. And he's like vibrating with joy as he's like barreling through the snow because it means birthdays are coming. And I'm just like, I don't know how to explain this. And it hasn't stopped. So apparently his birthday is still going. It was supposed to be 15 inches. Then they added 10 more. I don't know when it's gonna stop. I don't know what to do. Because now my son thinks that I control the weather.
Oh, it's your birthday's due.
Yeah, at least regarding birthdays. Apparently, whenever, I guess now when people ask, hey, I want to have a good birthday this year, I want a specific type of weather, I'll just be like, okay, what do you want? Gotta know, because, you know, gotta speak it into existence in some certain way. I really don't believe that, but good Lord, the state of having to explain to my kid, hey, so, like, there was no way of looking into his little puppy dog eyes and being like, so that wasn't me. He genuinely thought that I did that, and it was one of those, or that I knew that it was going to happen like this. And I'm like, I must know more than the weatherman. Like, this was, you know, the weatherman's never right. And I'm just like, when our birthdays come, so does snow. And now, I literally saw one of the kids at the bus stop today dumping it. And he had a black jacket on, and the only thing you could see was his head when he got up, when he was in there. And this was like a middle schooler, and I had to process the fact of how deep the snow was for him at that, to do that. And I just kept thinking, it feels like 0 right now, and you're choosing to do this as about, just before 8 o'clock in the morning. That was a choice. And I hope that he really learned from that.
Right.
Because as I was driving to your house, there was high schoolers getting off the bus with no jackets and t-shirts. And I kept thinking, you do know it's cold. Like, as a teenager, yeah, I might rebel against a jacket, but I still wore something on my arms. The idea. It's like, I get that it's hot on the bus. Like, even, because my daughter has to wear her whole entire snowsuit when she gets on the bus. And it's hot.
She's hot.
But she will just ask to keep her snow pants on, and she'll tuck her arms inside her snow pants like a penguin and just walk to the door like this. And granted, if she gets cold, I'll make sure she puts her jacket back on. I'm not trying to be cruel, but it's one of those things where it's like when it's hot on the bus and you're sweating with extra layers on, I get coming off the bus wanting to have like that chill. But he had nothing. It didn't even look like he had brought a blanket. Even a blanket. He didn't even look like he brought a blanket. He didn't even look like he brought a jacket. He just had his backpack on, and I was like, how did you wait for the bus this morning?
Right. Unless he left his jacket in his locker.
Maybe it was in his backpack. I don't know. I have questions, and they will not get answers. I just don't know.
Well,
But yes, now my son thinks that that's a thing, and yeah, I don't know how to explain this to him. But here's the thing: now that he had just we had his actual birthday be somewhat special. Me and my husband were able to give him special gifts. So I gave him the Bowser and the Peach, and my husband gave him a Hot Wheels track.
Oh yeah.
But we're having a much more formal party, much more like, hey, let's celebrate with cake and ice cream and stuff.
And family.
With family, more towards the end of this month, because with Christmas and all the celebrations that a lot of people have with multiple different Christmases, so close to the new year, it's easier to do a little bit later. After such a concentrated force of holidays and
I had
celebrations.
3 kids that had birthdays around Christmas. I know.
So doing a little bit later into the year, we're trying to decide into future planning as to what we're going to do, because my daughter being born in August, it's like a big cookout. We just do it outside.
Yeah.
And no, it's like, it's not limited to just family. We can invite friends, we can invite people, and we want to do that for a canyon. But with it being so snowy, we weren't sure if it was going to snow. So we were like, we can't plan on it being like going to the luge or the winter sports complex or something. Not that we would do it yet, but like in the future.
Yeah.
There's no way to plan for that if we're never knowing when the snow is going to drop.
Right. Right.
But then my friend was like, you could do rollerblading. You could do going to the bowling alley. You could do just all these different ideas just started bubbling through her. My sister-in-law's planning on taking hers to Double J's, which is an indoor theme park that is not far from us.
Right.
That does $10 per entry on Sundays. So it's like there are options. So I'm trying to think in that strain, because he's getting older, and I'd like to like have the same level of oomph to his birthdays as Olivia's, but with winter that kind of limits stuff, and I don't want to always have to rent a space.
Right. Exactly.
Like if I have to, I will, but like
it's easier in the summer.
Or we might start celebrating half birthdays.
Yeah.
Because that's what my mother-in-law used to do with her kids.
Right.
She'd celebrate the exact half birthday.
Right.
Into the year where it's a little bit easier to plan.
Yeah. That could work too.
Which would be July 10th for him.
There you go.
We've already thought about it.
There you go.
So, I need a tissue. You start doing that. I need to stop talking.
So, the blanket that I'm working on, I use a 5mm hook. I'm using a half double crochet. I'm using 4 colors. I have 2 of these whites that I'm gonna start and end with. So I have my white, my Delft blue, the ice cream yarn.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then the mint.
What would you call
the light mint?
What would you call the ice cream yarn? like, that is such a quick change.
It's a speckle.
Is it a speckle?
Yeah.
Because it's a primary white
Yeah, and it's just speckled
with constant flex of color.
Yeah. And then I will end on the same white that I started.
So you're getting there soon? Like, are you finishing this
Yeah,
ball?
I finished the whole skein on Delft blue. I finished the whole skein on the white.
On the white.
I finished what I had of the ice cream. I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to finish the next white, and that will be my blanket.
That's beautiful.
And it's turning out so well. And this color, this color is in here. This color is in here.
Yeah, and
And
the
the
white
white is already there. So it all works together.
And is there a person in mind for this one?
No, not so far. My granddaughter has claimed it, but that doesn't mean she has to have it.
She is a blanket hog. She would take it happily. It would go to a very enthusiastic home.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I'm not sure.
You don't have to, of course.
And then I've got thoughts on my next one, on my next blanket, but we'll get there when we get there.
Oh.
Which might be hopefully next week.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have this one done by next week to show you. And then I'll show you what I'm thinking for the next one.
Okay. Well, is it hard to switch from a bigger hook for you to a smaller? Like, you usually use a 10 gauge, and then even going to the 5.
No, because my furls have the same handles.
And you have, I'm just saying, like, tension-wise, is there any difference for you?
Mm-mm. Okay. I have the same handles on my furls, and Furls Odyssey handles are the same, and but the hook size is different.
The heads of the hook sizes are only
different,
difference.
and that's it. And
do they kind of weigh the same then?
Yeah, and it's nice because it doesn't wear out your wrists like the other, the ones where you have to
really grip.
You grip a different way because they're so thin, and that wears out. It wears on my pinky really bad, and my wrist, and so I can't do those anymore. I've gotten used to the weight of the furls, and it works with my the way that I crochet.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, I've been looking into it for your small size, but they don't have anything, I don't think, smaller than the 3.5.
Oh. No.
I've been looking, but she needs a 1.5 with a bigger handle on it to make her.
I mean, I'm not doing bad with how tiny the smaller hooks grip is, but I know that it might become a little bit more strenuous over time.
Yes.
So it's one of those things that is right now, it's fine, but long term probably should invest in something a little bit
It won't
better.
crack your fingers as much if you don't have to bend as much.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So that's what I was thinking. If you have a bigger handle, you don't have to bend as much.
Yeah.
So what are you working on?
Okay, so with last week, I shared with you that I finally got the hook size, and for the yarn, the thread that I was using, so I'm using like, I think it was, just let me grab it. I didn't think to pull this out before I started filming because I didn't think about this, but this like Auntie Lydia's crochet thread. It is at it's considered a 0 for weight size, and it asks for a hook size of a 7, or it's a 1.5 millimeter. And that it is quite tiny, but I decided I wanted to save my lace color that would be a little bit more conducive to the skin color that I would start with for a purple that I already had. Let me see if I get out. I already had some of this same stuff, just in purple, and I already had it, and so I figured that I would practice on this, kind of get used to the weight and the tension and operating with a smaller hook size and such. And I did get one head done. The pattern that I got does operate in 3 different shapes of heads. One is just a plain, like, no facial shape head, just kind of like a oval. Then there's one that has greater features, so a little bit more of a defined jaw and nose. One with slighter features, so a smaller nose, and I think it might be a smaller jaw. I started with the more pronounced face, so the bigger nose and the bigger jaw. And then I took a stab at doing embroidered eyes right on the work, not doing it on a small loom and maybe practicing and pasting it on or just testing it out. I've been watching videos from crafters that kind of do kind of like visual tutorials. Some of them do have audio, but based off of how they talk, I'm just not going to be able to understand them because one I do believe is Turkish and one I do believe is Russian that I've been watching. So I kind of have to go off of the audio. Just the visual step-by-step process that they are showing in their videos. And I kind of figured this one out through one of those means. And my mom says it's not that bad.
I don't think it is.
But here's the face, like this is the back of the head. You can kind of see the little dimples of me pulling through the thread for these eyes. And obviously you can see the side profile of the nose and a bit of the jaw. And then you can see this tapered facial shape. The nose, it definitely has the eye sockets and my version of how I did the eyes. And then this other side. And yes, I just have it on one of my a needle holder that I have. It does have a place to so the construction of these dolls is that you will be making a body from the feet. You make the legs and then you attach the legs together and then you continue up, make the, independent arms, attach them, and then you end at the neck. So because you start with making the opening for the head to be able to be placed on the neck, so you can kind of choose which head you want.
Oh.
For your doll. And so I did this, and here's the thing. I know for a first time I didn't do bad. I recognize that. My issue is that when you're doing this, there's a sense of freehand drawing where you're wanting to place the eyes. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the camera properly today. And my problem was they were saying to use, from what I could tell, they were saying to use fabric markers, and the only fabric markers I had were black. And normally that'd be fine for things like outlining actual fabric, but they wanted you to use something similar for this yarn, but theirs were like in a very muted fleshy tone, so it was like almost like a blush color.
Okay.
Like a muted orange or a muted red.
I wonder where you get those colors.
And I can't tell if they were actually like makeup pencils.
Oh, maybe.
Where they were using, or like a chalk pencil.
Yeah.
But it was delicate enough where you could see what they were trying to place on the thread. But once you sewed the eyes on, it could either rub off like a forgiven, or it was covered by your embroidery work, and so it wouldn't matter. Mine is a it was pigmented black.
Yeah.
It was like putting Sharpie on this.
Right.
And it was heart stopping, stomach dropping, like going onto some sort of an amusement ride, wherein I put that on this light purple because it was like, it's either do or don't at this point. It's either cover up this black or I have nothing and I don't even know if it's even. I'm just placing this. And oddly enough, I didn't grow up doing makeup, and part of the reason, besides just not growing up with people that did makeup around me, is because I have a bad eye. And with my bad vision on one side, I'm dominant only in one side. Not that I can't use both my hands, but I'm predominantly right-handed. Not saying that I wasn't tentatively born that way, but my right eye is my good eye. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like my ability to see perceives off of one side. And so when I'm doing like one eye and trying to match it on the other side is just not easy to do, even when drawing onto this. So you can even see just the eye shapes are a little off. Now, did I do a good job filling in those spaces? Yeah, I'm not even gonna deny myself. I don't think I did a bad job. And for a nice start of trying to embroider doll eyes where I freehanded it, I don't think I did a bad job. But it's one of those things where there was one technique that I did which was similar to this. And I'm not gonna try to explain it. I can always link this video if we need to in the description below. But the other one is very interesting where they use a type of glue to place the thread where they want it so it will lay flat on the material. So they start with the pupil and you see them place the needle on the pupil and then they round it like in a spiral. Very delicately where they're placing it so it'll be a perfect circle when they place it, and then when they're done with where they want to place it and they have it dry enough, they push the black back in through where it stops in the circle so that it has a place to end where it doesn't fray because it's going back into the work. Wow. And then they push the needle back up where they want to start it again, and then they're placing the colors right where they want on the eye with that glue so you don't see any of the stitch marks, but it's perfectly placed. But it is considered embroidery because you are coming up and placing the thread, but they're holding it down with the glue so it places flat on the works, which makes for a much more, it has a very specific artistic style. Like with this, I actually had to place where this thread was, and you can kind of see it. It kind of feels bumpy. Whereas with that one, it's going to feel perfectly flat and silky. And I'm excited to try that version, but again, it's in a different language, so I'm trying to figure out, was that E3 6000 glue? How quickly does it dry? Is it fabric glue? How is that going to work with my thread to the yarn, to fabric, to, and I'm just, and they had it where it had a fine tip applicator. Like it was like very needle-esque how fine it came out of the tube without drying quickly, because like most of the glues that I would think to pick up are not going to have that fine of a tip. They're going to have maybe a smaller tip. It's going to come out the size of maybe a Q-tip size or a pea size, but this was coming out like the size of a needle. Yeah. Like it was almost like a brush stroke. Right. And so I just could not process. And again, I'm going to look in their description, copy and paste into Google Translator and figure out if I can figure out what they were showing as their products in their, just with the language gap. But I thought that was brilliant as a way of being able to do these artistic placements. If you have a basic sense of just drawing, a basic sense of, hey, now you just fill it in with color. It's just like a pre-drawn out stenciled picture that you're just filling in with crayon, but it's with thread. And they were doing it with just placing it down with glue. And I thought that was, with a central point being the pupil, everything's coming out like a ripple and being very evenly dispersed.
Do you?
And it was beautiful.
Know that they have, at Family Dollar, they have Crayola flesh tones, colored pencils.
Maybe that will work. Maybe like wetting it and getting it to transfer.
You might even be able just to draw on it.
I don't know.
But that would give you the lighter tones.
The lighter tones, yeah. I was thinking a chalk pencil or trying some makeup pencils.
But it
like
has different tones of the.
Like
So if you wanted,
eyeliner,
well, if you,
colors,
so if you were using a darker
lip liner.
Tone of thread,
it would
you
would
could
work.
use the lighter tone,
Yep.
or you could use the darker tone for the lighter threads.
The lighter skin tones.
And
I
I'm
would
just
use.
wondering if those would work for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I will
you'd have
to
different
look.
colors.
Yeah, I'd have to look, because the reality is that doing the purple again was me being like, I want to save my actual skin colors, tones. When I'm picking up all these different types of skin.
That one's called natural.
Yeah, so it's like, no, it was lace.
Natural.
Yeah, but lace.
That's the size.
Oh.
Natural is the color.
Okay. So all these different color tones that I can get in this size, thread, a crocheting thread, you know, all the different shades of skin tones, when I'm making these dolls. I wasn't trying to do anything crazy with this. I just wanted to practice on something that I wasn't too worried about. But what's funny is this looks like the same colored purple as the animated ants from Bug's Life.
Yes. I told her to put the antennas
so
on.
I'm thinking about just finishing this doll off by putting antennas on. And just
I told her to go ahead. That would be fun.
But here's the thing. With that being said, and for another slight pause in my plan, was that I found that the working on the smaller stitches was causing my eyes. I have a natural double vision, and so it was kind of tripping me out to have that be such a smaller focus. My eyes were having a hard time focusing, and I don't know if it had more to do with the circumstances of when I was doing this project, because I felt like I might have been just a little bit more tense because the snow had hit, and it felt like there was a lot more like just environmental circumstances outside of the work that might have caused my like a high blood pressure or something that was causing my eyes to be funny. I don't know, but I'm trying to invest in something like a neck light that might help create a little bit more concentrated focus on my work, that will not have my eyes working so hard to focus on my work. It might help with that. And if I do end up having a little bit of problem with my eyes, I will just either invest in maybe like a reading glasses where it's a little bit more like a magnified glass towards it, so it's a little bit easier on my eyes, or how have you. I'll figure it out, but because I do want to do this.
Right.
But with that being said, I was trying to figure out ways of adapting what I already know to do with what I want to still practice doing, and that's where I'm going into this one. Now, what I said earlier, my son does have a birthday party that we will be celebrating at the end of the month. So there are still crocheted projects that he wants me to finish. He has a long list of toys that he wants me to make, and he's very excited about it, because after I made that Bowser and that Princess Peach, he is now just like, Mom can do anything. And so he has this huge list. I literally have a list in my Notions bag that literally tells me everything that he wants me to make. Or it might be in that. It's a little notebook, and it has like a full page of like Yoshi and Bullet Bill and Goomba and Spike Top and Banjo-Kazooie and a Donkey Kong and all these things he wants me to make. But there is a thing that has become a little bit more recently of a focus point, which is, if anyone's ever had kids my age and this time period, there is a show called Miraculous, and it is about it's superheroes, but its place in the world is in Paris, France. And it is very fun. And there's two main characters. There is Ladybug, which is a girl that ends up having a lady. She is in a full red jumpsuit with dots on it, and she has very specific creation powers. And then you have the boy, whose persona when he is a superhero is Cat Noir, and he has much more of the superpowers of destruction, and they balance each other out. And they're not enemies; they work together. they work together because one's creation, one's destruction, and they balance each other out against forces of other things that are going out of balance. So they create balance, and together with their powers, they help balance things out that need to stop, that are out of balance. And my kids love it. My kids love that show, and my son has been really liking Cat Noir recently. Like, he has been, like, on top of everything Cat Noir. He wants to be Cat Noir just like he wants to be Mario or other characters.
All day long. All day long.
He wants to be Cat. I'm Cat Noir.
Yep.
I'm Cat Noir. Don't you know I'm Cat Noir? And it's great. You know, it's fun being at this age where he's constantly imagining himself.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I don't want to just make a plushie. I want to make more of like an action figure of this character.
Right.
You know, I don't want it to just be a doll. I want it to be something that he can pose and play with and really go at it. And I really thought, and I ended up changing kind of how I was doing this in my head. But I had started making the head with this. And I was kind of understanding the mechanic of making a head with much more of an actual face shape, like face shaping and the face tightening, and understanding that process a little bit more. Because I was doing it. It wasn't just something I was seeing. I was actually having some like hands-on understanding of how this worked. And I was like, maybe if I just had, because the doll pattern that I have for this head is primarily female. It's just a female body. I didn't have the male body where I could go off of that. So I was like, okay, well, do I have anything that will go with that? A while ago, I made a Link.
Yeah. Yes.
So I thought, okay, I already have that pattern. If I just make it adapted to how I need it to look. So instead of making it where it's like, okay, I need the boots and the colors and the things and the tunic and all the stuff that Link needs, I just make him in all black, because all Cat Noir is he wears a black jumpsuit, black boots. I have to make a little bit better boots, but like black everything, black hands, because he has black gloves with nails on them because he's a cat, and he has blonde hair, and so does Link, but Link has a different part in his hair, so I have to make a hair part that's right in the darn middle for this guy. And then he has cat ears that come up outside of his regular ears. And he has a little, he has a collar, he has like shoulder plates, and he has a little bit of a detail on his legs. He has a belt that becomes like a tail in the back, so I have to make that, and he has a staff. That's his like weapon. But he has kind of like the stereotypical superhero like eye mask. And that's the thing. That's the big kahula. I decided I wasn't going to face shape this guy. I was just going to make it just the plain circle. Now with the Link, he had just little beady safety eyes. I didn't want to be that simple with this guy because this guy has very beautiful eyes. He has cat eyes. So when he's a normal dude, when he's just Adrian, not Cat Noir, he has green eyes with, you know, the white around the eye and the normal. When he is Cat Noir, he has the normal green eyes that he has, but everything about his eyes go other shades of green. I pulled up a picture of him. See, so the white of his eye turns into another shade of green. Okay. So he has the thing where normally his eyes are the normal human eyes where it's green, but with the whites of the eye. With this one, when he turns into the full cat persona, he actually becomes where the white of the eye turns a different shade of green too. He fully turns cat, and his pupils become more like vertical, where they become the slits.
Okay, yeah.
So he changes into having more like cat-like eyes. That's very defining. I can almost get away with the face shape not being there if I get the eyes right. If I just place the eyes on top of this head, it doesn't need to have the nose or the smile perfect. I can even just outline those. I just need to have the eyes really well.
Yeah.
So everything else can kind of be misproportioned and everything, but as long as I have the right details of the ears, the hair being parted right, and the eyes being there, and just the shape of the body being him, I will be fine. So I'm really excited because obviously this is much more of like an action figure sort of shape and doll.
'cause you got the
And I have the wires, and I have it where it's able to be bent and molded when everything is put in there. I have an idea of what I'm doing with all this stuff. It has a very distinct front and back shape with how it's working. It's great, and I'm excited. But here's where I'm at with the eyes. I decided that I was going to problem solve by simply, I got like a... Oh, thank you, Bubba. Okay, my son decided to share his snack with us. Go sit down, bud. I decided that I would get my small little loom. My little small little embroidery loom. I got some muslin. And I was just going to draw the mask on it. Because here's my idea. If I can kind of position the eyes and get them on, get the nice colors on, figure out my shades and figuring out which greens are going to go where, get all the details on here. So I already got the black outline, I already did the slits, and now I'm trying to figure out which green is going to be much closer to the pupil and the green that's going to be more the white of the eye. And whatever like little white spots of like light in the eye that I'm going to place. What I can do is I can either embroider the black on, or I can crochet a little patch and sew it onto the muslin, cut the muslin out on the back, make this a patch, and just place it on the doll, and I will have made eyes that are detailed, and make a patch and just put it on the doll.
There you go. That's
so
wonderful.
I'm trying different ways of using skills that I already know how to do with my amigurumi,
right,
and enhancing them with my learning how to be better with embroidery, trying to steer clear of a safety eyes unless it is very specific that the project looks better with safety eyes.
right.
And kind of get more practice with my embroidery work this way so that I can start being like, okay, how do I attach this to that? Because I don't think I did bad doing the head. But again, it's the whole, I wasn't able to place it right, but I also got scared with the black. And so if I have better markers, I might be able to have a little bit more grace with myself with doing the heads.
Right.
But just getting the practice of the eyes, I can still do that here and still be able to problem solve and make
it work.
Make it work.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm working on this action figure, and I'm trying to figure out what toys I plan to fully have done by his birthday, the birthday party. But this is one of them that I am doing. And so I don't know. This is fun because this is like a very forgiving. Coloring on the muslin is super forgiving because I can cover it up, or I can just cut it out, or I don't have to use it and I can start over. It's not the work you just got done making.
Right.
I could take this off and start with another fresh piece of muslin.
Yeah.
Not the same with the other thing. So I was just sitting on the couch yesterday just having fun, coloring this in, figuring out the right size, figuring out, and it's okay if I make a mistake. It's okay if it looks cartoonish. It's a cartoon.
There you go.
The dolls are a little bit different because I want them to look a bit more real. So I'm in this really weird plateau of still practice on the cartoon people while still getting better at being better with some of your details until you can start working on a little bit better with the more realistic shapings and stuff. So that's where I'm at.
I went when I had to go get my grandson some more snack. I grabbed my hooks and I wanted to show you what the size was. The pink may be a little bit, no, I think it's the same.
The handles are the same.
The hook sizes are different. Okay, so I have the purple is a 5mm and the pink is a 10mm. And that is, okay, this
the body of the handles are the same.
The handles are thicker so that you can grip them better and crochet with them better. And I find, now there is some weight to them, but the weight actually works with you to get the crocheting done.
Okay, so they are fully made out of metal.
Yeah.
Maybe not the handle.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the handle is like resin, but the guy that started this whole company did it because his girlfriend needed a bigger hooks handle for her hands when she was crocheting, and it just blossomed from there. So I thank goodness that this guy had the wherewithal to know what he was doing making these, because that has saved my hands. These are the only 2 sizes that I do have. They have all kinds of different colors and sizes and stuff. These are the Odyssey hooks. They've got wooden ones. They've got all different kinds. But these are the only 2 that I actually need. I work with 4-ply yarn. So 4-ply is a 5mm hook. If I work with 2 4-ply yarns
at the same time,
I work with my 10mm hook.
Yeah.
It's just a double. And so that's all I do.
And I've been going smaller. I've always stuck with like a 5mm. And because I've only ever used a very specific a needle company, like I've only ever stayed with size. Like Susan Bates or Boy. Their 5mm normally is in the gold. Yeah. Its hook is normally gold. So I've only ever had to look for the gold for both of them, because those are normally the 5mm, like 5mm or 5.5. But now I'm going smaller. Like I've been working with much more of like a 4.5 or a 3.5, or now going to 1.5 where you can barely see the hook.
Yeah, and like, I was trying to look onto the Furls website to see if they had a 1.5, and I don't think the guy goes down that far. Okay. I think the smallest is 3.5. So.
And that is okay. I will figure it out.
So we've got ourselves a quote today, and it made both of us smile. And because of the snow, and because we needed a good laugh and a good smile.
And because we were talking about the Bugs Life movie where he's talking about the rock. It's a safe.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it's a rock. I know, it's a rock.
Yeah. So, the quote is, "The mighty oak was once a little nut that held its ground." So, we both get a good laugh out of that. The mighty oak was once a little nut that held its ground. So.
And there's just something to that. Sometimes it does not seem like there's anything else that you can do but just hold on.
Yeah.
But when that's the only thing that you can do, sometimes that proves to have the best results. Sometimes
Or you start something new and you just keep going.
Yep. You don't stop. You don't give up. You don't let go of what you want to accomplish. You just get better at it.
Because your dream can get bigger and better as you let it grow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we wanted to express to you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
Share it with your friends.
Share it with your friends. Subscribe. All the things. It's all free. So just, you know what to do. We're trusting you know what to do. So, yeah. How do we end this now?
Well, honestly, the one thing I will say is, the more that you get accustomed to this sort of work, the more that it comes to you, I will say. If I were starting this from the get-go, it might not be perfect. It would take a lot of work to get a whole bunch of these pieces together.
Yeah.
I will say this. If you are like us, where part of the reason that we started this is because we wanted to feel a sense of community, because there's not a lot of people that we personally know that do this around here, where it's like we can go to a place where we can crochet as a bit of a group, or have this sense of community. The community that we found was much more online. Yeah. We found some place here because we watched other crafters craft, and we were like, we would want to partake in that sort of sense of fellowship. Right. And we're so glad to have followers that feel that with us and are able to sit down and craft while watching us.
Right. And comment.
Yes. But I will say, I wouldn't be able to get to what I want to do so smoothly if I wasn't surrounded by the few crafters I am around. Yeah. Like, the looms themselves, even this little one, are not cheap. And it's one of those things where I was very blessed to be supplied with so much of this because of the people around me and the people that value my wanting to get good at this. And I feel that ripple effect with even inside me when now I'm inspiring other people that want to do the crafting too. And now I'm like buying yarn being like, this looks like them. So this feels like it's a part of who they are, their character. I can feel this yarn being just like them, and I can either make something for them like that, or I can try to encourage their creativity through that yarn by gifting it to them or something. I will encourage you at the start of everything, if you don't have a whole crafting room where you have a whole bunch of yarn to choose from, like us, where we've kind of collected this collection over time, where my mom has made it her life's goal to go to every single thrift store and see if she can find yarn or old blankets that might be able to be recycled, or whether it's the fact of you might not have the aunts and or just people in your life that might be, when they pass, have that room that can be distributed to the other crafters in that family. If that is not the things that you have, get around people that craft. Don't be afraid to step in and maybe not like everything. It's okay to do a trial and error.
Right.
There's some things that just don't end up clicking the way that you thought that they would. Like, they look good on video, but when you're doing it, it might not feel like that was the perfect fit. I just encourage you. Get around crafters, share in their craft, see if they will offer some of their materials before you start. This is not me saying mooch off of them. I'm just saying, if you're inspired by them, they're more likely to be like, hey, you want to try this? I have extra.
Yeah.
Because crafting inspires more crafting. And if you don't know where to start by finding other crafters.
Yeah.
Go to Joann's or a local craft store and see if they have a class you might be able to start with.
There you go.
Free patterns, a nook and a hook and a ball of yarn.
Yep.
Goes a long way.
It really does.
You don't have to start with a lot. But if you are the person that was just blessed with a whole bunch of stuff from their family and you don't know what to do with it, find people like us online, find a community, find a pattern, and just see what you do. You can just literally get some muslin and doodle on it and follow the line with the needle and see what happens.
Yep.
It's very fun, it's very simple, and it can really just go your way. So as always, we hope that you've had a good day today. We hope that we've been able to be a part of your day and that helps make it better or fun or maybe more productive if you were working on that craft. That we are so happy to be a part of the project or process of.
Yeah.
Just to pass the time. And, comment. Tell us what you're working on.
Yeah, we love to hear those comments.
We always love to share with you guys. Please feel free to share with us.
Yeah.
And as always, we hope that we'll see you next week. And until then, that you stitch your way
to mental health.